to the one that breathed life into us all. We all owe the Most High God a debt that we'll never be able to repay. So why not give him everything within us? Seriously. We sit up here, and especially for those individuals that try to pretend like the Most High doesn't exist, or they'll be in the comment sections on different videos talking about anybody who believes such a fairy tale, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, these are the people that believe that we're flying through space on a rotating ball and the water never spills or anything. And for that matter, we don't feel it, being that it's spinning so fast. They'll believe that narrative, but they don't want to believe the facts, the real truth. And that's the Most High God created everything. Everything. In all of its complexity, the Most High God created everything. You know, you don't get all of this in-depth level of creation. As complex as it is in nature, you don't get that from a mere explosion. And then it'd be even more funny how they try to explain from what they deem the scientific perspective, which is all lies, been inserted into the minds of the youth. You know, that way when you grow up and you hear the truth, it sounds absurd. But what's more absurd? That we have a creator, that we're in the image and likeness of, or that we're flying through space on a ball that rotates. That's funny. And it's hilarious, to say the least. So we got to stop sitting up here pretending like the Most High doesn't exist. You know, we'll give all of our attention to the most absurd level of idiots. We'll give our attention to people who glorify harming others. And then if you don't approach it in the quote unquote street deemed view thereof, then you're ostracized. And that is just ridiculous, to believe such narratives or to follow such teachings, you know. But no one wants to hear what's right because it makes you take a deep, darker look at yourself. So I don't nobody want to hear the truth about anything. The truth is too hard, you know. And above all, the truth is really, truly is stranger than fiction. Hi, how you doing? Blessings. The truth is definitely stranger than fiction. A lot of things they'll never come out with the truth about, because in doing so will completely and totally rewrite history as we know it. So we must do our due diligence, and we must go all in, unearth these truths so that we can make a true change. Not a change in the way and the narratives that they put out there, but a for real change in the heart, in our minds, and in our spirit. Because it's about that afterlife. It's about, are we going to spend eternity with the Most High God, or are we going to spend eternity burning with Satan and his hierarchy of minions? That's what it's about at the end of the day. All this other stuff is just propaganda and just a bunch of absurd madness. That's all it is, every single day. And you got people up in age glorifying the violence with the youth. Like, y'all supposed to be teaching them better. But we got a lot of people who's middle-aged. Now they want to be in competition with the people who are younger. You know, y'all had y'all time. Now y'all need to step back, take the role of a mentor, and steer these youngins in the right direction instead of steering them to damnation. Because that's all it is. For real. There's just so many complex things going on right now. But majority of the masses, they're missing the real message here. The message is clear. We are at the end of all of this. You know, is your soul going to be prepared to spend it with the Most High God, or are you going to burn forever in the lake of fire and sulfur? That's where we're at, you know. And I'm not saying these things out of fear. I'm saying these things out of you know, an honest level of rejoicing. Like, for real. Because there's nothing to be scared of if we're on that path and we're really trying to pursue that. You know, it's just... And then, man, it's just crazy. And our people are always suffering the brunt of everything. All the time. And then it's like we're at a stage in the game that we should be able to see through this deception clearly. We got to stop aiding in the destruction of our own. And I'm talking to all people. We should never engage and help other factions of evildoers to harm our people and to try to destroy and neutralize us. Why aid them in that regard? You know? That's why they put all these distractions in the way, because they don't want to serve in the Most High, but yet they try to preach that he doesn't exist. Well, if he doesn't exist, why are you going through this extra level of measurement en route to trying to keep us from praising and serving the Most High God? Why have we went through all this trouble to strip everybody of their true nationality and then rename us this made up, silly, absurd names? Why have we done that? We continue to just allow them to reduce us down to mere nothing, and then we'll sit up here and act like we're tough. And you know, what's tough to me is being able to walk away from a conflict before it gets to that level. Being truly tough is being able to be the bigger person and show love and compassion and walk away, or to keep people from engaging in, you know, in a physical altercation. That's tough to me. That's what true toughness is. You know, not sitting up here allowing an individual to get inside your mental state of being, and now to get you off of your square. And now, because of one little altercation, that altercation now leads to a slew of negativity. Negativity that's only going to be harmful and a detriment. Why do that? Makes no sense. You know, it makes no sense to do that or to engage in such actions or behaviors. So that's what's really hardcore. To be kind, to care about our communities, to give back. That's being tough. It's also being humble and being a God-fearing individual. Not sitting up here listening to the most negative lyrics in which you can. And I used to do it too. That's why I can speak on these things. Letting all that stuff plant seeds, various seeds of negativity inserted into your mind to where it distorts your cognitive state of being. Why do that? You know? Listen to things that's going to uplift, encourage. But people don't want to do that. It's too hard to do that because of pride of life. Pride of life is something else. It is. It can make or break you. That's why we should not be prideful. We should be humble. We should acknowledge the Most High God on an honest, true level and make sure we're following his law, statutes, and commands. I mean, if we're going to follow the law, statutes, and commands of individuals who rape, pillage, steal, and kill in the name of making something great again, I mean, why can't we do that when it comes to the Most High God, who's only going to breath more life into you? You know? And then can take every single negative issue or situation that happens or occurs with you, and it can turn it around for your good. And then there's going to always be growth from it. How y'all doing? I love the animals. I always speak to them. Because you never know. That'll be an animal that'll help you before a human being will a lot of times. And that's the honest truth. Especially when they know, can feel that you got a good spirit on you. They'll be there for you. Hey, how you guys doing? They'll do that. So, we got to stop reducing the mind state of animals down too. Animals are very smart, very spiritual. But a lot of times we want to pretend like they're not. We talk to animals like they're stupid and like they don't have the ability to comprehend when they do. So everything in this life is deep. And it just amazes me when you try to talk to people about some of these topic matters. It's like we've gotten to a stage where it's like, especially if you're dealing with people 35 plus and they just want to sit up here and glorify negative rap lyrics and who's sleeping with who. And like, for instance, they'll always talk about Tupac. Oh, he was the greatest rapper, da 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 da. But they totally skip over and bypass his political roots and the direction in which he was about to take his political stance during that time period. But it's easy for people to listen to the narratives that were put out there and be deceived as a result, instead of fully understanding how things work, how Satan works. It all gets back to that. I mean, it's probably safe to say that he found out nationality-wise who he truly was as well. That's the type of information that they always try to keep contained, especially when people who are in the entertainment world, once they wake up out of that psychosis, you know, now they want to do everything they can to try to destroy those individuals because they done awaken out of their stupor. For real. I mean, when he came out, all his lyrics was way different than one he got with Death Row. Very different. But he wasn't following the Most High on a true level like that. I mean, he was probably getting around to it maybe, but it's hard, you know, when you're in those arenas, especially an arena filled with devils, a hierarchy thereof. But people just want to continue living this facade. They want to live out the character portrayal instead of looking deep within themselves, being honest and true, being a man of God for real, the Most High God, creator of all. Because that's what it's about. We don't have time to be caring about if someone's going to talk about us because our belief. Stand on your belief system, whatever it may be. Hopefully you believe in the Most High God, though. But just be true and honest to yourself, though. Believe in the Most High. Take a step towards Him. He's going to take double that towards you. The Most High has gotten me through a lot in this life. He's helped me. He's always been there for me. Even when I was being very hard-headed and stubborn and thinking that my way was going to supersede his. And the lesson will always be learned when an individual is rotating and operating in that manner. You will always, it's that old adage, hard head make a soft behind. And I've had many soft behinds throughout the years because of my level of ignorance, because of my inability to put the Most High God first, instead of thinking that my way is the best way. Our way is not the best way. See, we got things so misconstrued being human beings, you know. Especially those who run the governments of the world. They've been given that power and authority by the Most High. At the end of the day, however it plays out, He's the one who allowed them into that position. And He's got the ability to take them out of that position. You know, and He can do it in the smoothest ways. Like, we don't give God the credit He deserves. And He can talk to us, He can do all these things without physically actually having to do it Himself. Now, if that isn't on a whole different level, that's a whole different level and a whole different level of understanding. It is so much more to this. So we need to stop operating in the manner in which they've deemed appropriate. We need to operate in the manner that the Most High God has deemed fit, regardless of what comes our way. Because as long as we stand on that, we're gonna stand tall, and we're gonna stand, and we're gonna be good at the end of the day. And I'm not saying anything is easy. It's never gonna be easy. But anything worth anything is not supposed to be easy anyway. That way you'll understand that grit and that grind, the bumps and bruises that you've accumulated along the way, en route to accumulating the knowledge that's necessary. So yeah, it's like that. A lot of people hate hearing about God. It just blows my mind how people can sit there but see what it is. It's that conviction. They feel convicted when conversation. Like, I know people that I know personally. Every time you try to have a conversation about the Most High God, they don't want to have that conversation. They'll do anything they can to try to steer the subject matter stage left, because they start feeling convicted, because they know the way they're living is not right. But we all sin daily at the end of the day. But be on that path to doing things the right way. That's all I'm saying. And give it a real valid effort. And have a pure heart in the process. Not sit up here and be evil towards people, or be carrying ourselves arrogantly. We shouldn't do that. It's amazing at the level of evil that's around us daily. And a lot of people don't even pay attention to the level of evil that surrounds them. I mean, we are out here dealing with real demons who are really body hopping and using other people's vessels to carry out the agendas of those pulling the strings. Like I said, evil has a hierarchy also. I mean, the forces of darkness and evil, they run the whole earth. Satan is the god of the earth. This is why things are going the way that they are. He knows he cannot beat the Most High. It's about how many can he take with him? How many of God's chosen can he take to hell with him? Because Satan is on earth with us, Roman. His kingdom is on the other. When he said in the scriptures, he will be like the Most High. He will sit his throne above the stars. That's literal. He's literally up there on the other side of the firmament. CERN and HART, those technologies were at the Tower of Babel. They open portals. They can make it snow. They can make it hot. They can make it rain. They've got weather warfare. See, a lot of times when information like this gets put out there, people before they even investigate a shred of an inkling thereof, they'll sit and criticize. They'll spew out negative rhetoric because it sounds foreign to them, based off the fact that they haven't heard it before. So they want to pretend and act like a person's just, blurting out nonsense instead of checking their story out, checking what they're saying. Because what they're saying just might be accurately true. There was this dude earlier. He was in the comment section on one of my videos. They always want to try to play the psychological game with you. And, a lot of them just be trolling because, they're gang stalkers, things like that. But they'll always sit up here and try to say something to the effect of, you're brain dead, you're stupid, you're uneducated, just things along those lines. And keep in mind, they have not once even considered that the things that you're talking about is public record at this juncture. So they never thought about the Freedom of Information Act acquiring some of this information. They never once even thought to, along those lines. And it's crazy. I was talking about, the McMartin preschool scandal of the 1980s, where they was taking the kids underground through the tunnels and then flying them to this mountaintop by helicopter. And the kids were coming home telling their parents about the rituals that were being done and executed, people getting killed. So by this time, ex-FBI Director Ted Gunderson, at this time when he was got involved into that situation, he had the tunnels excavated, because they had the tunnels filled in trying to get ahead of it. But yeah, they tried to discredit the children and everything, and like they were showing them different photographs of people and the children even named some famous people that were there at the time. Now keep in mind, it shouldn't be no surprise, especially famous people who throughout their life they've continued to accumulate wealth with next to no pushback, no scandals in their own life. It doesn't mean that they've been out here being good or following the Most High. To accumulate wealth and riches in this life and to do it in the manner in which I previously stated, you have to serve the devil. Samael, Satan, you have to serve him. There's no way around that. You got to serve him. You gotta be involved in different ritualistic situations. You have to be involved in homosexual exploits. You got to be involved with bodily waste like urine and feces. Like this is all a part of their order. These are the things that they have to do. So, and in blood sacrifices, all of this is a part of their order. So to be able to live the quote-unquote good life from a worldly perspective, carnally, you have to be engaged in these behaviors. It's inevitable. And you got to look at some of the people that we've had admiration for and looked up to and see, line it up with scripture. Was they living right? Like Michael Jordan, he's another example. Look at all this money he's got. Now look at the situation he went through, and then what led to his retirement the first time, and then how they'll always basically tell you, like while he was doing his retirement speech, he was already letting people know he would be back. It's just the manner in which they let him know. So yeah, especially billionaire status, you do not reach that status in this life working hard, being good, and so on and so forth. It doesn't work that way. You got to serve Satan, period. However you, according to their contract, and it's safe to say that none of them are serving the Most High God, and they're not. When those scriptures say it's easier for the camel to go through an eye of a needle than for a rich individual to make it through the gates of heaven, that's real. Because they've chosen their side pretty much. Not saying it's impossible, but it's next to impossible. It's next to impossible. And then people who come out with the truth, they do everything they can to discredit them, dismiss what they're saying, try to play the psychological card with them. They'll try to keep their views low on social media. Because if these things wasn't true that I'm speaking on, all these various tactics would not have to be implemented en route to trying to keep the truth contained. So it just amazes me as to how many individuals lack the ability to see through that level of deception. But they can laugh and ha ha he now all in which they like. But that judgment day is coming. And trust you me, there ain't gonna be no, oh, I didn't know. Oh, nah. Because at this juncture, everybody's been warned, everybody's been told. But see, people still living under this illusion about chasing worldly wealth. Especially if you're going to be on the truth path and following the path of the Most High God. You know, like I said, the Most High God, He's the one who takes care of me. He's the one that makes sure that I'm okay. Because if I'm expecting man to do it or a job to do it or anything like that to do it, I'm going to fail. Because they're going to use everything they can to try to keep you in line and away from speaking the real. Because, you know, the times we're in, they do not like reality. Reality is a detriment to their order. So I urge everybody, turn away from sin, repent from your sins, turn back to Christ, get baptized, get you a pure heart if you don't have one already. Make sure your heart is pure. Be there for those. But stay on point. Stay vigilant. Recognize deception for what it is. Watch your surroundings when you're out and about. Watch how many people might be actually follow you around on a daily basis. It might actually blow your mind. Because people really truly be out here following people around, getting paid money for it. Under the guise of different operations, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. Especially when they feel like people have got an anointing on them from the Most High. They're going to follow people around. They're going to take you through it. But the Most High God is going to get you through whatever is thrown your way. Because he that is in you is greater than he is who is in this world running the show. And running the show with a bunch of gimmicks and clever trickery. Just imagine what the world would be like if they took all those resources and stopped being so clever in their tricks and was being honest and true, following the ways of the Most High God. Every single living being on this earth will be well off, will be good. And we would all be on one accord serving the Most High. And now we're at a stage in the game where anyone who goes against homosexuality, they gonna deem you a threat. They're gonna call you a homophobe and all these things. Well, the Most High God forbids such actions. So you're dealing with a demonic spirit. These people who are fighting these demons within themselves, talking about, oh, I was born in the wrong body. Blasphemous. No, you wasn't. The Most High doesn't make mistakes. You're dealing with a demonic spirit, and you need to pray and fast and get that demonic spirit about you. You got to starve those demonic spirits. Some spirits that's in individuals They won't go out unless you fast and pray for a significant amount of time. Because you gotta think, it's a hierarchy of minions. So, they all have varying levels of power within themselves. So, just food for thought as always. Praises be to the Most High. Y'all have a good day today. Today's the first day of the week. Remember that. Blessings and shalom.